All right, we're live. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I'm your host, Robert Michiels. You're joined tonight by Casey Cadwell. We're going to have a great show tonight. Got all kinds of good stuff. We're going to do some giveaways, and we're also going to talk about all kinds of good stuff with paragliding, paramotoring, and we've got a great thing lined up. Let me just get my stuff here. Quick order of business tonight. This show is brought to you by a few different sponsors, and I do want to just encourage you that if you are just now joining us for the first time, I want to encourage you to hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching this after the fact, you're in the right place. There's all kinds of great information that you're going to get from this program. Time and time again, we're hearing about people having accidents. This season has been just a horrible season of flying, free flight and paramotoring. And every time I hear of an accident, my heart stops, and it's like, gosh, man, what can we do about it? Well, I want to tell you something. We are doing something about it. And that's why we have this show. And there's things that you can learn on the show that are going to help you to stay safe and stay in the sport for the long haul. That's actually one of the topics we're going to talk about tonight. And so keep this show going. You can support the show on Patreon or PayPal. And if you want to sponsor the show, maybe you want to be have your name advertised on the show like some of these guys, you can reach out to me on the sponsored page or send me a email or text message. You can reach me on Instagram or Facebook, on YouTube in the comments. Let me know if you've got a business, something that you're interested in advertising. There's no contracts or anything like that. We just go from a month-to-month basis. If you want to advertise with the show, reach out to me, and I'd love to have you as a sponsor of the show. This show is brought to you by Nebraska PPG, a great organization there in Nebraska. You can get a hold of Josh Bowden, his information. You can find him on Facebook. There's a link in the description for his school. Great group of people over there and will help you get your feet off the ground. Also, the show is brought to you by Resurgence PPG. Go check out resurgencepppg.com if you're interested in supporting our military veterans. Also, the show is brought to you by flymyppg.com. Mike Cotter and his team in Michigan can help you to learn how to fly. If maybe you've got just a few hours and you're learning now, want to encourage you to continue your learning and continue to get instruction until you are the best pilot you can possibly be. Go check out Mike Cotter, flymyppg.com. Show is also brought to you by paraorangeproducts.com. Paraorangeproducts.com. Larry and Chris make all kinds of great stuff. They actually sell gear now too. They've got wings and all kinds of stuff, motors. Go check out his website, paraorangeproducts.com. This show is also sponsored by our biggest sponsor, ppgsmoke.com. The new smoke machines designed by Ryan Roberts. There's all kinds of great stuff that he's been coming out with. You can check out his website, ppgsmoke.com. I want to just encourage you to support what he's doing and buy some stuff from him. He's got some great stuff. Go check it out.
He's in the chat too.
Is he? Ryan Roberts in the chat.
Absolutely. He likes turtles.
Right. Well, that just made me a little bit more nervous. The show is also brought to you by Tri-State Skywalkers. If you're in the Indiana, Kentucky, or Ohio area, reach out to Brandon McCloud on Facebook. Tri-State Skywalkers Flying Club aims to help out the locals with friendship, organization, and all kinds of other good things that you can add to your flying repertoire. Go check out Tri-State Skywalkers. There's a link in the description, and reach out to Brandon McCloud. Hey, Steve Parker, thank you for free money. I Fly Indiana Paragliding. They have a great organization there. Go check out I Fly Indiana, iflyindiana.com. By the way, there's links to all these in the description. Go check them out and support these guys that support the paramotoring and free flight community. If you, again, are interested in getting into this sport, a great place to start is with an instructor. Even if you haven't got your feet off the ground, make the phone call now. Call some of these guys and talk to them so that you can get a game plan going for maybe what you're going to need to save for gear, what you're going to need to be looking for, Some guys, they come into the sport and they say, you know what, I can't afford to pay for brand new equipment, so I'm going to buy used. And there's some great websites and some great people out there that will help you find what you need. And I just want to give a disclaimer out there. Not all these websites are good. There's a couple websites that, and we'll touch on it for in just a few minutes. But there's a couple websites that are snakes, and they're overseas scams, and there's not much you can do about it. And they'll get your money, and that's it, game over. And so you've got to really watch what you're doing. And but anyways, one of those websites that you can get some good gear from locally here is Sky Toys. Skytoy.com is the website. This is Casey's website, and he's got all kinds of good stuff on there. He's got used and brand new gear, and we'll talk a little bit about that stuff. And by the way, Casey, welcome to the show again. I think you were episode 52 last time, and thanks for coming back on the show.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Little background with Casey. He actually had the first paragliding, paramotoring radio show, or he was involved heavily in that. I'm not sure if it was his radio show, but so he was already doing paragliding talk before paragliding talk was cool.
Yeah, that was back in the early 2000s. It was called PPG Talk Radio. I believe that's what it was. Michael Purdy and myself were started that up, and then Jeff Goen stepped in, and so did Paratoys. Mike, I'm forgetting his name right now. Anyway, I'll think of his name in a minute. But yeah, that lasted about 4 or 5 years. So that was long ago. I enjoyed it when I did it.
Love it. We've recently had some incidences, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about the mistakes, but I do want to just encourage everyone, to keep an open mind to what we talk about when we talk about safety. I know that it gets boring sometimes, and we're like, oh yeah, I'm always safe, and well, no one goes out to the field to fly, or nobody goes to the mountain planning to go and get some airtime thinking I'm going to be the next casualty, or I'm going to be the next injured person. We don't have to be, folks. And the fact is, we don't have to be doing this. We're doing this because it's fun, it's leisure, it's excitement. It's for some like me, it's the joy, it's the excitement. There's a passion about it. There's something. It's just exciting, And most people, if you're here tonight, it's probably because you're addicted to. But we don't have to hit the dirt. I want to talk a little bit about first the topic of old versus bold pilots. And Casey, you've been in the sport for a long time. You've got a great history with and a great track record for safety. How is it that you've been in the sport so long, and what do you attribute your safe flying this long to?
Yeah, the very first thing I learned to do was I learned to kite and handle the wing so I could dominate it. I knew how to move it without it dominating me, and that initial training really was a big factor in flying safer in this sport. So I see students come through my class that have trained with other instructors or are self-taught, and it's really important that they get multiple instructors because you'll learn many different things from multiple people, and that might take years to accomplish, but your first instructor should be a certified instructor that's got some experience in the sport, and then really pay attention. Hopefully that instructor gets you fired up and sticks with you over the at least over the first year or so. But instruction, of course, is very important. Being involved in a local pilot group is also very important, because a lot of the pilots you'll meet, have been flying for years and can help you out with local sites, local weather. So get dialed into your local flying community. And when it comes to equipment, a lot of guys say, hey, you got to buy new equipment, in order so you know what you're getting. I that's a good thing. New equipment is usually going to be more reliable than used, but there's a lot of good used equipment out there too. If you do go the used route, and you don't know much about the sport, you want to definitely get your instructor to look at the equipment and maybe even fly it for you before you fly it, just so you know that it's reliable and it's not going to die on you on climb out, in a very critical time. And then sound judgment, good judgment is really important in this sport. Most of the guys that I've known over the years that get hurt or killed have used bad judgment. They say it's always pilot error when incidents happen, fatalities happen. So, learn from other people's mistakes. Really focus on when something goes wrong. Really try to understand why it went wrong for that other pilot, and take that stuff very seriously. Yeah. So, that kind of sums up what makes a pilot have a better chance of surviving without risk of death or injury over the years.
So would you attribute your safety, the majority of your safety, to your relationship with your instructor?
Initially, yes, but I don't talk to my initial instructor anymore, or any of the people that taught me in the first 2 or 3 years. But now I fly with guys that that I currently fly with, and I look at their skills, I look at what they're good at, and I try to learn from them, whether it might be a mild acro move or a free flight, a way to stay on top of the group when flying. I try to pay attention to the guys that are really good at certain things in the sport, and those are the guys you want to fly with too. Try to meet guys that give you a challenge. Yesterday I flew with Chris Dewey. I don't know if Chris has been on the show before, but he's a local pilot in Southern California that's really taken the sport seriously. And we flew at Nichols Field in Otay near San Diego. We climbed up to it must have been an 800-foot climb we had. It was a bit of a workout, but watching Chris launch, doing a tandem, picking up little things that I'm always observing on technique, especially from the guys that I know the technique very well. It's good to have those guys to fly with.
I completely agree. Who you fly with many times will set the pace for the day, if you will. There's been different times, and I'm speaking from a free flight perspective, when guys start doing acro and stuff, and they get up and big wing overs, and it's kind of I don't know, it's addicting to and enticing. I want to go and send it just a little bit further, and that can go both ways. That can be a bad thing, and that can also be a good thing. One is that progression, and I was thinking about this last night. Every once in a while I skateboard and I'll take my boys to the skate park. The risk of skating is you can fall on the ground and you might you can twist an ankle or even break a bone, but more than likely you're going to be fine. With paragliding and add some acro, there's not a whole lot of room to take a fall on the concrete. You don't get those. The lessons many of times are very hard lessons with
yeah, it's less forgiving, that's for sure. You got to respect altitude. When you're flying anything over 5 feet, you've got to be confident, and you don't want to fly in conditions that you're not confident in. And confidence comes with practice and observing other people flying when you're not ready to fly that site. So don't ever put yourself up in the air when you don't have that skill yet. And just knowing how to knowing that you don't have that skill is a skill in itself. You know, you don't want to have, you know, you don't want to be the guy with the biggest balls, if you want to call it that. You just have to respect Mother Nature, and when in doubt, you know, don't fly, but try to learn what's going on from people that are flying. You know, instructors, when you graduate from your school and you're on your own and you no longer receive instruction, you really need to keep being instructed in an informal way, and that is through other pilots, because there's always going to be someone better than you. And if there aren't, then you need to fly with more people.
Is that a pig or a dog snoring?
Oh, I'll show you the dog.
Oh, that's a dog. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. I was like, I thought it was a pig. I was like, oh my God. Well, I grew up next to a pig farm, and I was like, that sounds just like a little pig. Like maybe he's got a pet pig or something.
You know, it's his name's Paco. I think he's an English bulldog. I'm not sure though. It's my friend's dog. Yeah, cool little guy. Make some noise. I didn't know you could hear him. Sorry about that.
No, that's cool. I was just cracking up because I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he does have a pet pig. You know, I'm thinking to myself like, huh, that's cool.
One of the big.
I'll show you where I am. I'm out in the country right now at my friend's house, and she has an Airbnb business where she does glamping. I don't know if you can see those tents, but it's out. I found this place because a friend of mine, Steve Tustenson, and I were out looking for a place to launch, and we were out in the wine country in Baja, and we found this little place, and so this is a place I fly from once in a while. Anyway, that's great. Let you know what I'm up to. Sure.
So what are the big differences between the old and the bold pilot? Besides, obviously, you're not going to have an old and a bold pilot, because usually they get either scare themselves out of the sport or they injure themselves or kill themselves. What do you see? And what would you, what advice can you give concerning that topic?
You know, when it comes to old and bold, I believe there are some older guys, older pilots, men and women that have a lot of skill, and they're old because they really know the sport. They understand wing loading. They understand brake pressure. They know what's very important to make the wing happy. And those are the people that can take it to the next limit, that can compete, that can do acro and do it into their older, years. When a person tries to, duplicate what an experienced pilot's doing without the skill level, that's where the bold pilot comes in, that may make some decisions that can kill that pilot. So it's really important to not exceed your level of skill when you're doing maneuvers or just a simple cross country. Your skill of weather is not that good. Not maneuvers don't just kill you. Weather can catch up with you as well. Anything from wind shear to offshore winds that kick in and blow you offshore. There's many different things that can happen in the air. Having an impact with another aircraft is very possible in an area I fly in San Diego. So being prepared for that event is a skill. You need to think about what can I do to mitigate this danger. Is it wearing a reserve? Is it flying at a certain altitude? It's knowledge. Knowledge is what's going to help you, and skill. Both those together are going to give you the best chance of getting older in the sport.
Well said. We've got Kyle O just joined us.
Hey, this is my first time on Zoom. I had to download the app. If y'all hear me okay? Is this working?
Yeah.
Sounds great, man.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to push buttons and figure out what's what. At first I couldn't hear it, but anyway, yeah, I'm here, man. I've been training nonstop for weeks, it seems. We had a nil wind condition tonight, like 0, and my student, it was just a little less than he required, so we called it quits a little bit early and here I am. I was like, oh, let's see what's on the internet on Thursday nights. Oh, I think I know where I'm going to go.
That's a commercial. I'm going to cut that and put that as my advertisement.
Yeah. Hey, Casey, I missed the first part. How long you been doing all this shenanigans?
Oh, hi, Kyle. I've been flying since '94, foot launch paramotoring, so a long time.
Oh yeah, man, you're like one of the original OG members of the sport. 94 was when it like just got past being sketchy all the way.
Yeah, it's true. Back then, my family thought I was crazy, and then every year I'm still alive. They're like, now they don't even think of me flying. So it's.
When in '94, you probably were crazy for doing that. Tell me what you think about the gear, how far it's come, because I was in the sport way later than what you got involved with it, but even in the short time that I've been involved, I've seen like some real leaps in gear, the performance, the safety, the construction. All that stuff is just really taken a huge leap just in the few short years that I've been doing it. I just couldn't imagine how it is from your perspective, coming from the early 90s, the stuff they had then versus now, your options. It's just, I imagine your mind's blown all the time, right?
Yeah, Kyle, I'm glad you asked that question, because back in the 90s, we had things that were very experimental. Like, I might have mentioned this a year ago on the show. I had a paramotor. It was a triple cylinder direct drive made by a company called Koenig, or the brand was a Pagojet. The engine was a German Koenig engine, and it was relatively light for a 3-cylinder. But what was neat about it was the throttle you put in your mouth. It was like a clothesline. You hang your clothes on the clothesline, and you would squeeze the throttle with your teeth in order so you could have one hand on each brake handle. I'll never forget that. That was kind of fun.
That would have changed the whole paravlogging situation for me.
Yeah, to kill the engine, you just spit it out, and there was a mercury switch on it, and it would, once it went past horizontal, it would kill the engine. Another big thing is the weights of the paramotors have gotten so light. I mean, look at the Air Conception Tornado at 250 cc engine. What does that weigh? About, does anybody know?
50 pounds, I'm guessing. Right,
40 something. I think it's like 41, 42.
Well, they advertised the Nitro at 42 and a half, and I've weighed 3 of them. They were all 47 3/4 empty. So apparently they're misinforming the public by about 5 pounds is what it seems. It might be observations.
The harness, maybe the seat and the harness.
Whatever it is, ready to fly with no gas. They all come out at 47 3/4 on my scale.
That's probably what that is. 5 pounds worth of backpack.
Yeah, but why not include the weight of the harness in the ready to fly empty weight? I mean, that seems like kind of a cheat, if you ask me, a marketing
scam.
Scam. Yep. But you call it 50 pounds. Most of your lightest paramotors that have power, you're looking at 50 pounds on the light end, 65, 70 on the medium end, and then 90 plus on the heavy end when it comes to the big motors, the Mosters, the Simonini, stuff like that. But everything was over 100 pounds back in the day, right, Casey?
No, it was never that heavy. It would run around with 90 pounds on my back, that's for sure. But that was with gas and maybe a 75-pound paramotor.
Yeah.
But today, I mean, today, if you get into a rig under 50 pounds that can do tandems, that's incredible. I mean, that's unheard of. The technology is really good, and I like seeing it go that direction, because as we get older, we want that light stuff. I sold a customer, that 60-year-old customer, about a year ago, a paramotor made by Cisco, or the engine was a Cisco, on one of my SkyToy frames. I sold it to him, and it weighed like 51 pounds. And his response was, "You just added 10 years to my foot launching." And he came from a Fresh Breeze Monster. I think that had the Simonini with the dual carbon fiber prop. But that's how nice it is to have a lightweight motor. It allows you to do more flying, because it's a real pain in the butt to walk around with a heavy motor in your back. Even, a lot of guys say, "Oh, it only hurts you when you're landing and walking around," but that's not true. It's that's when you feel the weight, but it's such an inconvenience to get up off the ground with something like that on your back, and to walk, 100 yards or not 100 yards, 100 feet to your launch. And then you put on something light. It's like, I'll never go back to a heavy engine. And I think people need to know that don't know the sport. Light to me is the number one priority when I'm looking for a paramotor. Of course, reliability is right there with.
A close second, I would think, would be harness comfort as well. What I found is I've been trying a bunch of different gear out lately, and just really shopping for the stuff that I find, fits the best, works the best. I know best is a thrown around term, but there's pros and cons to all your stuff, but something, and I came from the Fresh Breeze as well. And the one thing I noticed more than even the weight was the ergonomics, the way a properly fit, adjusted harness of modern design. Instead of sitting on the paramotor, you're more like wearing the paramotor. It's like a mitten versus a tight glove, it's a big difference there. And that was one of the first things that I noticed by trying out some different stuff coming from that Fresh Breeze. The Fresh Breeze felt more like you were sitting on a paramotor versus wearing it and being part of it. So that was a big thing.
Darren Cycles said reliability. That's an important one right there.
Ain't none of them reliable. That's just a joke, man. That's a joke on the internet.
We're flying a dang airplane on our back. By the way, I need a reliable.
Yeah, when it comes to reliability, there is an argument to be said is nothing's really reliable, Kyle. I hear you there. But if you keep your equipment clean and you pre-flight it and post-flight it every flight, you get to know your equipment really well, and you can almost predict when it's going to fail. I know, I know when my Atom 80 doesn't start on the second pull, there's something different about it. So you just have to have a routine, and that routine a lot of times will help you get to know your paramotor better. When things fail in flight, it's likely you could find that failure starting before it happens if you get a good pre-flight in. So, look at your equipment really closely.
That's it. That was one of the topics, the gear and inspections. Pre-flight inspections are critical. We've been talking. I keep seeing these videos where stuff's flying off and going through props, and whatever, they have an engine out and they have to land somewhere they didn't really want to. And most of the time you get away with it, especially if you got a bunch of flat land and, you're not dealing with power lines and trees too much, you can get away with it. Kyle country, there's all kinds of good places to land out. But when it comes down to business, we are flying aircraft. There should be some real serious attention being paid to each component. Because the sad fact is if just one out of however many, if you wanted to break down every part of your engine and your wing and your reserve and your radio, your cell phone, your GPS, all these things, one out of whatever it is could go wrong and wreck your flying career. And so something should be said about what are we doing to promote like the other day we went flying and there's a guy that didn't have a radio, and it was going to be a light scratchy day, and I had a feeling there was going to be people going to the bottom of the hill at Blossom, and I know you've flown there before, and Kyle too. You land at the bottom of that hill, you want to have a radio so you can beg somebody to come get you, and especially if it's hot out like it's been. And so anyways, something should be said about your gear inspections, and maybe talk a little bit about that. Where do you draw the line on equipment life, and how thorough are you with your inspections?
Robert, are you asking that question to me?
Yeah, absolutely.
I only heard part of the question, but I think you said, how often do I inspect my gear? Is that the question? And is there a cutoff where you say, that engine's still running, but it's got a lot of miles on it, I'm going to retire that equipment, whether it's wings or motors? I'll tell you something. I'm probably different than most pilots in that, because I'm in the business, I sell used equipment all the time. So if I get something with 50 hours on it, it's usually sold before it ever gets to 100 or 200 hours. But I see guys with older equipment, and Anthony, Anthony, he's a perfect example of this. He's got an older paramotor. He bought it. It seemed to be a good working paramotor, but as he found out, it had problems. So when you're getting older equipment, the engine might run fine, but it's the other parts that could fail on it, like maybe a recoil starter or a throttle. As those things age, they become less reliable. So if you have the ability to replace parts with new parts, I suggest that. Or if you have the ability to buy a new paramotor, have that old one as a backup. I don't like flying old equipment, because when I get invited on trips, I really want stuff I can really count on, because I want to do the entire trip. I don't want to be sitting in the van or whatever.
I just carried 3 paramotors with me, and then I got spares, man.
Hey,
when I say the reliability thing, kind of in jest and kind of serious, I've had 5 motor outs, 3 of them being running out of fuel, a couple of times on purpose, one time not on purpose, but it was, the things you get, like you say, little weird stuff happens. A fuel line cracks, a throttle spring comes undone. So something, it's always a little something. These little motors are running so hard and fast. And again, they're more reliable than they used to be, but even airplane engines, like FAA certified airplane engines, go down sometimes. You got to treat them like they're going to go down. The other day, you'll like this story, Robert. I was just doing some midday flying, and I went up to about 600 feet, killed the motor, and I thermaled for maybe 45 minutes, drifted with the wind, I went all the way to Spring Hill to where I couldn't go any further. And then I tried to do a restart at about 2,000 feet. And I could not crank my engine. I was just man. So I just thermaled all the way back into the wind and landed back at the airport. And
Wow.
that was pretty cool. So it
With
was
the motor.
with the dead motor on my back. I just thermaled, of course I was on that Xeno. That helped a little bit.
Oh yeah. I was going to ask. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a good day. When I got back, I'd actually gained 1,000 feet. I was at 3,000 feet when I got back. It was maybe 6-7 miles.
That's hilarious.
That was a pretty fun day.
That's a nice tool to have in your pocket, by the way, thermaling.
Yeah. That saved me from having to call for a ride. I was just able to fly back, and probably a 10-mile-an-hour headwind. So that was pretty exciting. Fun day, man. Fun day.
If you want to give something away, we're going to give a Paragliding Talk t-shirt away. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel.
Oh, boy.
Spin the wheel.
I'm prepared. I got everybody's name in here. My computer hasn't pooped out today. Okay.
That's great.
I think I got it fixed. There's no more of this .sys error Windows 10 blah blah operation. So yeah. All right. You
Whenever
ready?
You're ready. Spin it.
Hey, fire in the hole. Here we go.
And we've gone high tech on the paramotor talk.
That's right.
We used to draw these things out of a hat, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Gerald Kalapos.
Nope.
Robert's not paying attention.
Congratulations, Gerald.
Gerald Kalapos.
Congratulations, Gerald.
I believe Gerald has won a shirt before, even. I believe.
It's not working.
Maybe he's won. Maybe he's won a shirt. I don't know. I think he has won something at one point in time in these 80-something shows that we've had.
He's in the chat right now. You can ask him.
Yeah. Gerald, what have you won, buddy?
Gerald. Oh, that changed my screen. Yeah, me.
Yeah, and by the way, I can't see the text on this Zoom app. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or not, but
You're using your phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the inner chat, you can use the inner chat. That's between us, but you can't.
I guess I probably need my laptop to see the YouTube chat. That's where all the fun happens, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where it's at, man.
Yeah, Gerald won the Toe Pro. Gerald had won one of the Toe Pros.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, but congratulations, Gerald. You got you an awesome shirt. I still got mine.
Paragliding Talk. So, Gerald, if you will, reach out to me. I can't show you what the shirt looks like. There we go. Something like that. Send me your shirt size and your address in go to the website, paraglidingtalk.com.
You know what? I realized that I'm sitting in front of a green screen, and you guys both have green screen images in the background, right?
Yeah, you can do that too. I think you're going to have to use your computer though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I'll just be the guy in front of the unpainted green screen.
You can use green screen though with Zoom. It's pretty neat. I'm liking Zoom more and more. I am.
We'll do a tutorial another time. Don't let me interrupt, man. I'll blabber on and on about all kind of stuff.
We did want to talk about aging or older foot launch and paramotor choices. And I think you would be an expert on that topic. And maybe I'll just give you the floor, Casey, if you'll talk a little bit about that and choices.
Robert, sometimes I miss some of your words, but I think you said paramotor choices for guys that are getting older that want a foot launch, right?
That's it.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, on foot launching, once you get up there in age, not that I'm really old, hopefully I'm not that old, 54, I hope to fly till I'm at least 70, and I'd like to foot launch until I'm 70, if not, past that. I've taught guys that know nothing about the sport at 70 years old, and they're able to foot launch. It's not many guys can do that, but every now and then you'll find somebody that is capable of doing that. So it's possible. But if you don't have the ability to, run fast and carry a heavy load, wheels are just as much fun. And in fact, wheels give you even more opportunity in certain ways. Like you can have downwind landings. You could come in and stall your wing from 3 or 4 feet and bounce in, and you're not going to hurt yourself. But as the foot launch pilot gets older, I'm a big believer in having the skills to be able to be confident so you don't fall over. That's really important. And if you don't have that skill, then you're not practicing. You got to get out there and put the time in. So you are very good with your wing. You can, stand on a Home Depot bucket for 30 seconds. You need to push yourself and challenge yourself. And if you can do that, then you can be you can put on lightweight paramotors that will give you those extra 5-10 years of foot launch flying. And why I say lightweight, because you're not going to fall over, so you can get away with a titanium thin single hoop paramotor, and now you've got a lot less weight to deal with, and so as you get older, keep working on your skills. Go with the lightest rig you can find, get a good reliable engine and good communications, and get out there and keep at it. Enjoy the sport. There's no reason why you shouldn't. So I see a lot of guys doing that too. The demographic in our sport, there's a lot of older guys flying. Now there's younger guys coming in. Side note,
the guy that I'm training right now is 68. He did his first couple flights in the last few days. And we went out tonight. It just was no wind. It was a real struggle for anybody. So, but you said 70. I thought, oh yeah. But he's a prodigy for a 70-year-old. He's just a great guy, good student. He's able to run. So I guess he's got flight number 2 in the books last night. So neat.
Kyle,
neat stuff.
Are you when you take on an older student, are you reluctant? Do you screen that student? So, I've taken on guys where I don't necessarily screen them that well. And then it's kind of a disappointment to me and the student because I didn't ask enough questions and observe as closely as I could have observed that student's skills and their mind, how fast they think, process input. Are you real careful about doing that?
I don't let anybody go any further than I think they need to go safely. If they're having difficulty learning to kite, we don't go to that next step of trying to fly. If they're having trouble doing any part of the sport on the ground, we don't progress. We stop and have a chit chat about, maybe you need to reconsider the direction that you're taking in this sport. Maybe it's time for wheels. maybe you need to go practice somewhere where it's a little more wind or whatever the situation calls for. But, it's different. Each pilot is different. They come in all shapes, sizes, and speeds. And yeah, the older guys, I do find that it's a little more difficult for the guys that are past 60. Again, this guy that I'm working with now, he's just a prodigy as far as any student goes. And he was able to pick it up well. We went down to the beach for a couple of days and spent a couple of 2 or 3 days in some stronger wind conditions doing kiting. And that was a big thing. And then, of course, the hard work starts when you come back to the Neilwind inland situation. But it's important to practice both and know kind of where his window of flying is. If there's 3 or 4 miles an hour wind, he can do a forward launch, no problem. But when it drops lower than that, that's where the difficulty comes in. So that's how it goes. Everybody progresses different. I don't give anybody a pipe dream. I just call it like I see it and let them know what they need to do, how they need to do it, and what to expect in the future. So, I give them the goals. If they cannot attain those goals, then that's where we're stuck with it. But no, I don't really screen anybody. I'll give anybody a chance to learn and practice and work at it. That I ain't one to tell somebody you can't do it. But some people do. Some of the guys that come to me and learn to fly, they've been turned down 3, 4, instructors because they said they didn't have what it takes. And then, of course, they come out and do it. And I'm like, well, there you go. So I can see it from both perspectives, though. I really can. Some people don't want to put the work and the time in with a student who may not be an easy student. It's great to have a 20-year-old kid that picks it up in an hour and is able to fly 2 days later and nailing it every time. That's a perfect student pipe dream for an instructor, but everybody's different. You don't always get that. So I look at it from a realist perspective.
Somebody told me early on, log 30 hours of ground handling before you ever take your first flight. If you could do that, and everybody's situation's different, but I feel strongly if you'll do that, I think you have such a higher chance of going into the sport with a lot of knowledge, especially when it's free flight. Getting the wing up overhead. One of the things I noticed when I took my paramotor flight with Russman, you got to think about when you bring your wing up, you got to think about you're going to spin around, and if you fail, you better shut that thing off quick because the lines are going to get wrapped in that propeller. Little things like that. And then you're considering the amount of throttle that you're giving all while you're kiting the wing. I mean, you better be able to juggle and ride a unicycle if you're going to get into paramotoring. And so if anything that you can master before you actually go and fly that's a great thing. We spent about, I would say, an hour. Chris Dewey was there with Russman, just timing the turn and the application of throttle. Think of that for a second. And I was pretending I had the motor on my back and he would, down to the millisecond, he would be like, nope, you were too late. Okay, let's try it again. Run backwards, turn, throttle, and nope, too late. Okay, that was too soon. And mastered that. And he knew that I was going to try to lean forward because I'm a free flight nut. He had to beat on me for that. So Casey, if some guys are interested in buying gear, this is a question I get all the time. They're wanting to buy some gear. They want to go online and find something that's going to be used, that they can afford, and but they don't want to get burned. Do you have any advice for those people?
If I were that person and I didn't know much about the sport and I heard this bit of advice, I would really pay attention. Try never to buy anything, online that you can't look at and see it up close and see it fly. You can buy things online and be successful, but there's nothing better than seeing it flown in front of you. Sure, you don't have the skill to do it yet. You want to buy that engine before you get training, but you want to buy equipment that works. So get the guy selling the equipment to fly it for you. have them sit on the throttle for 5 minutes and see how it handles it. You can do that on the ground without getting it up in the air. You get another pilot's, some pilot out there or an instructor, get their opinion on the equipment. That's probably even more important because they'll know what to look for. So you don't want to just buy something and go, I hope it's going to work out for me, because a lot of people selling equipment used, they just want the sale. They don't care if you're 150 pounds and their paramotor weighs 75 pounds. They're not going to let you know about those things. So go in it with some knowledge, and the best knowledge, I think, is to get an experienced pilot to help you make that decision. So if you're going to go used, and get your knowledge up, come to the table prepared to ask good questions, and then actually see it perform.
Yeah, so. Not everybody has this situation, but Russman said that if you can fly it, or at least pick it up and handle it before you buy, that's the ticket. I was talking about getting a brand new wing, and they were going to send me a demo, and there's shipping and shipping it to me, and then I got to pay for the shipping back or to the next guy or whatever. And there's a guy locally that's selling a wing, and I said, Russman's like, go fly that one. If you can buy that one, that's the ticket. So if you're around groups, if you're a part of a club, that helps too. And the more people that it's going to keep you from getting burned. It's scary out there. You got people that just don't care.
Yeah, when you buy a used piece of equipment, make sure you get a good discount on it too, because you could be easily putting a new top end on that because it overheats. So you're definitely going to want a price break. And again, the more the better decision you can make. But yeah, if you could buy a $2,500 paramotor that gets the job done, rather than a $7,500 paramotor that looks beautiful and gets the job done, a lot of guys will opt for that $2,500 paramotor. But it's going to come at a bit of a cost when it comes to, there's potential for additional costs after the sale.
Yeah, no doubt about it. One of the other things I would say that you need to consider is your parts and availability. I heard the horror story from Anthony Peregringo, and I think he was fortunate that he was able to actually talk to people, because his that stuff is not readily available. Make sure that you're going to have who you're buying through is going to be able to support those parts. And I've heard some horror stories, and we won't go down that road too much. I know that's a touchy subject, but be careful. If you're going to buy used gear, consider where you're going to get the parts, because it's not a matter of when. It's going to happen. You're going to have stuff break. It's going to happen. These little 2-stroke motors I hate to say it, they're garbage. And all of them.
If it runs, it's going to break eventually. That's what they're built for. They're built to break. That's the whole purpose of it running, is to break it.
Yeah.
So break it. Enjoy breaking it. But when it does break, fix it.
Hey, Casey, for you, man, when I was asking about, the way this stuff has really come along, we got to talking about engines, but we actually didn't mention wings. That's actually what I was referring to more than anything was the gliders themselves, the progression that they've made and the technology that has gone up in these things. I mean, the stuff from the early 90s, I've seen some SIV footage from back then, and it was eye-opening.
Yeah.
And I bet you're just happy as could be with the stuff that's out now.
The performance is a hell of a lot better. The safety is a lot better. A lot of wings are certified. Most wings are certified now. There's different certifications that weren't available back then. Materials last longer. Gliders are much lighter. I've got some old gliders. I have the original Reflex in my garage that came out from Reflex. That was the name of the glider, made by Mike Campbell Jones out of the UK. And I fly that. I fly it once in a while, and it's a pig. I mean, it goes straight. It goes fast. It doesn't frontal. You can hang on the A's and it doesn't frontal. It's kind of neat. I don't think I'll ever get rid of that original reflex. It even has an R on the wing. And everything after that evolved from this wing. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, it's just better performance, just like anything, safer, lighter, probably stronger, different, different flying speeds. Back then, pre-reflex, we didn't have the speed window that we have with reflex wings. And another thing is, guys weren't flying small gliders back then. They were flying big gliders. I mean, if you were a big guy, the answer was, let's get you a 33-meter wing. And now, that same big guy at 250 pounds is flying a 28-meter wing, 25-meter wing. So things have changed in many different ways with wings. But I never felt.
Have you gotten a chance to touch a single surface yet?
APCO's got their hybrid out. I guess it's not 100% single surface. And no, I haven't. I really haven't. I've heard from guys that have flown them. I haven't got really good feedback from those guys. But
I own one, and I've been flying it and teaching on it. And there is nothing better to teach students how to kite with in low wind situations than that single surface glider. As soon as I touched it, within 30 seconds, I said, I want it. I want it right now. And
what kind of glider?
It was the Tensing by Independence. I think it's a 23. It's a B glider. I took it up. It was kind of an odd thing. I did some asymmetric collapses on it, and it turns away from the collapses. Oddly, it's backwards from any other glider I've ever done that on. And
wow.
You can't deflate it in strong winds. You can't pull it down. It just wants to stay up, because it doesn't inflate. The wind just hits it and it's inflated. So it doesn't hardly take a deflation.
How's it do on A input? Like, does it have a frontal collapse tendency?
It's a very, very stable. No, it does not. I mean, you can collapse it, obviously. You reach up and pull it down, it'll collapse. It's a B-rated glider. It passed all the B certification tests. So it operates within that realm. But I enjoy it. It doesn't have quite the flare authority. You lose energy quick because it's so lightweight. You have to really, really pull your flare about twice as hard and fast, but it's not anything that's outside of anything else. I mean, it flies a little different, but an amazing tool for teaching ground handling skills in lighter conditions. Again, I wanted one immediately, and I'll probably get another one, as I expand my inventory. But I was totally impressed with it. You might want to check that out if you're doing teaching.
I'll have to.
The other day, I took it up in nil wind. I did a forward inflation, ran down the yard, then did a 180 and ran back with it. And I've not been able to do that with any other glider. So,
what do you think about this? I'm from the. This is my impression on this wing thing. I personally think that you should get to know the wing you're flying the best you possibly can. Now, it's not wrong to go to other wings, in my opinion. But I think personally, when you have a wing, you need to kite that thing a ton, along with flying. Log some hours of kiting, especially for the free flight guys. Know your wing.
Don't all live in San Diego, Robert.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
No, again, I use this for the first couple of days or first couple of hours, in lighter winds, because we get light winds here. That's where it really shines as a tool.
Yeah.
It's not something I'd want somebody to stay on the whole time or to learn to fly maybe their first flight. You eventually want to switch them over to what they're flying, just like you're talking there. But again, for the initial learn to kite days, it's a pretty good tool, man.
The other side of the argument is that you fly different wings. You can appreciate what works and what doesn't. And like my first wing, it hung back a lot. So I'd have to put a lot of energy into it to get it to come up. When I got my new wing, that sucker would want to overshoot me every time. It took me a little while to balance it. And now I just started flying another wing, the Alpina 2.
Oh, you got an Alpina?
Yeah, well, I'm probably going to buy it, but I've got that. I flew it a couple times already, and probably going to take it on the trip and it's it's used, but man, that thing is light, comes up quick, and it feels like a new wing to me.
Amazing wing. The same profile as my Delta 3.
Right.
Is it the
exactly.
3? Yeah. Okay.
It's the
Okay.
2.
Yeah. You're okay. Still a good
PPG.
wing. No, nothing wrong with that one at all.
Yeah.
Nice move,
So,
Robert. Nice move.
I think it's one of those things where you get enough knowledge of the wing. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier when you're talking about your gear. When you go into the military, they give you a gun and they want you to learn that gun. That thing's going to be your best friend. And you take it apart, you clean it, you put it together, you take it apart, you put it down. And I feel the same way about your wing and knowing your wing, ground handling, learning what it does, and walk over behind the trees into the rotor while you're kiting and see what happens and feel it. Let somebody walk in front of you with their wing. And Resurgence PPG. It's a weapon, Robert. Come on. They wouldn't let me in, man. I would have went. They wouldn't let me in.
I just gotta say, the way Kyle's describing that glider, I can't wait to get my hands on one just to play with it a little bit, see what it does.
What she said.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
When you talk about these single skins, you're actually talking about one layer. It's not even a full.
It's just the top surface. It's like the bottom got cut out. You can see all the little connections, and
I've seen those. So you got a couple.
Pick it up. It feels like two pair of underwear, man. There's no weight to it. Hell, we were at the beach the other day, and it got light. Matt Minyard pulled it up backwards like a back fly pull up, and then he ran forward and got under it and did a run that way. We'd never seen that before, so. It's pretty neat, man. You can do cool stuff with this wing. It's so light. Again, because the top surface is exposed, it's almost like you've got like the little vents where the air goes in. It's like they're as big as the wing. So the air just hits it and it's boom, it's a wing shape. Immediately, you can really, it's forgiving for like bad inputs or over control. Whereas a normal glider, a double skin glider, if you pull the same amount of brake, that thing's going to come down like an avalanche. But this wing, you can pull that amount of brake and it'll just kind of hang there and wait on you until you put the proper correction in on it. So
it's like the top
again,
part
just
of the
a nice tool for it's real docile, real stable, real slow. Nothing moves fast. It doesn't develop inertia and it fly over you in frontal real easy. It'll fly over you and just hold the shape and just sort of hover down over you with the lines going slack before it'll fold in frontal. So it's pretty neat. The lightweight of it is probably the reason it has all those attributes. So
see, this is what Kyle,
like I say, I bought one as soon as I touched it. I said, I got the money in my pocket. I want it now.
this is what Kyle does to people, man. He's like, hey, Sean, come on down here, Louisiana. I got something to show you here. It's called paramotoring. Come on over here. Put this thing on your back and run. Take a couple steps. Give it some throttle. You'll be all right. You got this, man. Watch out for those trees over there. Don't run into those trees.
Yep. Same thing. Same thing.
Yeah. Hey guys. You guys.
Go ahead, Casey.
My battery's about to die, so I'm surprised I made a full hour, but I got to get out of here. And it was great talking to you guys. You guys had a lot of fun.
Casey, thanks for coming on, man.
For sure.
Great information. Go check out his website. Skytoys.com, www.skytoys.com. He's got all kinds of great gear on there. And thanks again for coming on, Casey. And I hope to fly with you one day. Once I get a motor, someday I'll come out there with you guys in Otay. I'm right down the street, so we can. All
right.
And if you ever want to come and do some free,
all right, Robert, I'm checking out.
All right, see you, man. He's in Mexico, so his phone doesn't work very good.
Good one, Casey.
See ya. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Okay.
That's cool, man.
Well, it's just us now. What do we do? I don't know what to do. Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to
I really wish I could see the chat. If you guys didn't know, I can't see the chat. So I'm excited to go back and reread that.
It's interesting. Yeah.
I bet it always is. This is the first time I've ever done the show and not seen the chat. It's kind of odd.
It's kind of cool. There's a thing that we can do here after the show's over. We can do the post show. And what I was thinking about doing is maybe having the Patreon supporters be able to come on to the after show. And I've been toying with that idea. And so there goes Casey. I was trying to figure out I'm still working out the kinks with this thing, but it's pretty cool. Zoom is pretty neat.
Yeah, I've seen you're doing it, and then the Paramotor Nation guys are doing it.
Yeah.
And
it's nice. There's few little options in there that you can do.
Yeah, now that I got the app, I can play with it in my own. Every time Sean blows smoke, he vanishes.
I know.
He's just like poof. He's like with Merlin the magician doing a trick.
That's my smoke system. That's my portable
ninja smoke, man.
Yeah.
I edited a video today. I made some cool ninja jokes. Y'all look forward to that one.
Yeah, man. I like when you drop a video. I always try to stop and watch it, whatever I'm doing.
Yeah. There's stuff coming, man. Got stuff coming.
Yeah.
Did you see my Neil Wynn-Zeno video?
Yes.
Neil Wynn-Zeno.
Neil Wynn. I could barely launch the thing, man. It's as hard to launch a Neil Wynn as it is in the strong wind.
Hey, we all have those days where in the wind, well, even with a little, let's say you got an 18 out and there's no wind out at all, you're going to be chucking. Yep. You're going to be huffing, sweating.
Well, I mean, tonight I did a first attempt Spider. It was a Spider 2. I launched 0 wind, but that Zeno is hard, man. It's hard. To get it once it's up, once you feel that connection to the sky, it is I love it. But you got to get it there. That's the hard part.
So Kevin Filbert, he said, and he's in the chat, and welcome. By the way, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can get the prompt when the show goes live. But he asked the question, he said, does mastering free flight before PPG make better pilots? I say 100%. 100%.
Yeah. If you're a free flight pilot, you've got some real skills that not every motor pilot has. But motor launching requires its own techniques. It's again it's a little different. It's a little different, and it's a different type of flying, different conditions you fly in. But definitely, if you can free fly and you've got those skills, it's an easy transition to motor. It's not that difficult at all. You just got to kind of go outside of the box that you've learned, and that's a little difficult sometimes, breaking those muscle memory habits and things. But
leaning forward and put your hands back like this.
Yeah, exactly. The Naruto run.
Yeah.
Well, I think that depends on the person too, though, because if you're a little guy and you ain't got no weight, and if you ain't got a rear end, you gotta work with something there, just a little bit, just to get it. Once you get it started, then you can straighten up a little bit, but get get it going.
Let the motor do the work, right?
Yeah. Let the motor do the work.
I'm jealous of little guys, man. Little guys got it made. They got to do is hit the gas and hang with it. Well, that's the same technique for anybody, anybody.
You would think that, but then if they got a bigger glider than what they should be on, or if they're just a little light on that glider, they could be going butt slow. You could be flying around them like crazy. I mean, just zooming all over the place. And they're like, if I could just keep up, that'd be great.
That's when people want to step up to a different wing generally. I enjoy slow flying. That's one of my favorite things about the sport.
Yeah,
is that you can go crazy slow, man. I was down at the beach the other day doing some hovering. Oh, and there's thermals coming off the ocean, Robert. I don't know if that happens on the Pacific, but we was out there in the Gulf, and I climbed up to about 2,000, maybe 1,000, 1,500 feet. I don't know. I didn't have altimeter, didn't have a vario, but there was kumis popping off of the water. And I got out there underneath one, and I felt that thing lifting me up, and I was like, check this out.
It's legit.
And it's a thing, I guess, during hurricane season. Maybe it's just in the Gulf, but it was some thermal lift out there. I really wished I would have had a vario. And I was on a little bitty wing too, because it was blowing about 14 miles an hour. So I wasn't on like proper free flight gear. Yeah. But it was clearly lift coming off of that water, and I was tripping about that.
I've got to.
You always hear there's no thermals over the water, blah blah blah.
No, there is.
False.
Yeah, I know. I've got a video where we did that at Torrey, and I've talked about it in the video, and I said, this is really weird, but it feels like I'm going up out here, and there's only one way that this could happen. It's thermals coming off the water. Yeah, absolutely. Especially
I had a Kumi showing me, you know, okay, obviously it's lifting right here. So that was neat.
Yep.
But
By the way,
that was-
Todd was asking about what software you use when you use the green screen for your videos, editing videos.
iMovie. Yep,
Yep.
that's it.
iMovie.
Yeah, no green screen studio, man. This is it. Only got one light on today, but that's
I just ordered one of those lights. Next week we're going to be actually doing the first away from the house broadcast.
I got my sewing machine. Oh, and my beer bottle, my empty beer bottle. But yeah, I was
So-
doing some sewing the other night. I had to sew a chest strap on a harness.
I didn't know you could sew. I might have to send you some stuff.
Uh-oh, I done spilled the beans now. You see my big spool of thread?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now,
That's good
Robert's rubbing his hands together, going, paraglidingtalk.com on my glider sounds really good. Now,
I do need it. I do need
I'd have to freehand it. You may not want that.
It'll be in pharmacy. It'll be in the pharmacy lingo. What do they call it? Chicken scratch?
Yeah. I sew when I have to, man. I sew when I'd rather weld, but
Next week we're going to be filming or live broadcasting from a I believe it's a eyewear, like a sports eyewear place. The name of the place slips my mind, but we're gonna have the meeting, the San Diego Hang Gliding Paragliding Association meeting, and then we're gonna broadcast that live from there on paraglidingtalk.com. So don't miss that.
You talk about Vizio?
6 p.m. It is not. It's a. We're going to be pushing their brand, I'm sure, while we're there. But yeah, there's just everybody from the San Diego Hang Gliding Paragliding Association is going to be there. And if you're a local, you're interested in being a part of it, you need a RSVP, and just reach out to me, and I'll send you a message if you're local and you want to go to that. But that's going to be next week. We're going to talk. Phil Russman's going to be there. There's going to be a couple other guys there that recently had some incidences. That's going to be great. I know that one of our local pilots that he took a whack on the back, and actually two of our really good pilots, top pilots, in my opinion, in San Diego, both got hurt this season. And so we're going to talk about that. Anybody can get hurt. Nobody is
close to terrain, or was they have an accident? There was something in the air cascade or something, or
so no, both of them were. Well, you'll have to watch the show, and they're going to explain all those things.
Come on, I may be training.
Yeah, I'll tell you about one of them, and it'll be recorded on here too, so you can go back and watch if you want to. But
of course,
they have the one was a rotor situation, and he was coming in low. It was early in the morning. We did a camping trip, and it was early in the morning coming back, and so we were trying to get back to the cars, and there was an area where if you're low, there's a chance that you're going to hit rotor, and it just so happened that there was something percolating right when he came in, and it took him out. So he took full frontal, and there wasn't time to really fix it, and he went down real hard. He's okay. He's healing up quick, and he's actually, from what I understand, he's going to talk about the incident, and so hopefully we can learn some stuff from that. And so that will be next week on paraglidingtalk.com. We're going to go to the post show. If you're interested in coming on the post show and you're one of the Patreons, message me, and I'll shoot you a link, and you can come on with us. We'll probably shoot the breeze for a few more minutes here. And
we can't forget about our winner, Robert.
Give away something.
We got a winner. Chicken dinner.
The winner of this week's PPG smoke machine, or chase cam, or lamels, or floats, power floats, or strobes, is Matthew Pesky. I didn't want to say pesky, but
sounds good to me.
Congratulations. You are the winner.
He knows who he is.
I'm going to send you I'll send you an email with the details and how you can collect your winnings. Go to, I almost sent him to Para Orange, ppgsmoke.com, ppgsmoke.com. He's got all this stuff on there. Congratulations, winner, chicken dinner. And you are the winner tonight. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your subscription to this program. Again, something I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you hear about people having incidents, you hear about people going down, you hear about people losing their lives. And each time I hear it, I'm like, gosh, man, we got to do something. Well, paraglidingtalk.com is doing something. And so if you want to support that, support the show, jump on board. Patreon, you can do it on there, or you can do it on PayPal. They have a little, recirculating. There's some bunch of guys that just do $1. You can afford $1 to support the show and keep this thing going, keep it rolling. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you again, Kyle. Thanks for coming on, man. What a pleasure.
I've missed you guys. Missed you guys for sure.
Yeah, you've been working your butt off. Every time I see you, you're working.
Yep. It's been pretty hectic this summer, man. Double jobs.
Every day hustling.
Selling drugs, getting people high.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yep. Okay, guys. Well, there's a bunch of people. Randy Clark's out walking his dog. He's watching the show while he's walking around. You guys are
Hey,
awesome.
What's going on, dude? I know this guy.
Before you log off, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button. I found out that it'll push the show up in the ranks of all the live streams. So for whatever.
Is that what that does?
It does, yeah. It pushes the algorithm.
I guess I got to start asking for thumbs up again instead of thumbs downs.
Yeah.
Dang it.
No thumbs down.
I'm shooting myself in the foot again. Dang.
Well, the thumbs down doesn't push down the algorithm, or it doesn't affect the algorithm negatively, but the thumbs up does positively support it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got the inside scoop for YouTube now. By the way, I got somebody
give me all your secrets.
Yeah.
I can't seem to grow my channel past a handful of people.
Yeah, I know. I told him, I said, I need you to push some buttons for me. Push some buttons over there.
Right.
So if you see me go to 100 million, you'll know why.
Yep.
I'm still.
You don't know I have a YouTube channel? Feel free to come check that out, guys. I make videos every now and then. In case you didn't know, there may be somebody on here don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, Kylo, you need Kylo in your YouTube repertoire. Definitely.
Yep.
Okay, guys.
It's fun. We try to keep it fun.
We're going to go to the post show. Again, message me if you want to come on, and we will catch you on the next one. If I don't see you on the air, I'll see you in the air. Thanks for watching, guys.